just answering questions from people who are just asking questions, don't want to listen to response, and left me a lovely little Kafka trap on purpose. This is a damned if you do, damned if you don't thing, not really a Kafka thing. The last question, and this is a transcript below of someone's YouTube video where they got together challenging Anti SJWs and saying things about them, of course. But I'm going to read the last question because this is going to be the key to unlock it. Do you understand basic English syntax? Now I'm going to read the rest of the question by deconstructing it, and you can decide whether I'm creating a straw man or nailing it. If I say a white cat is pretty, I don't mean that all other cats aren't pretty. Do you really not get why saying all cats are pretty in response to black cats are pretty is not only insensitive and biased, but patently ridiculous? This is an example of dismantling a question or dismantling conversation or language by removing things that have a specific effect and substituting them with identical or equivalent meaning. This is not a false equivalency. If I say to someone who says that black clothes are better than all of them, I say, well, all clothes are good because they keep you warm. That is not patently ridiculous, nor is it insensitive, nor is it a sign of bias. It's a sign of a lack of bias. You said racial insensitivity. You just mean racism and insensitivity. I don't have to be sensitive to your fashion voices. I don't have to be sensitive to your deciding that it's ridiculous that you prefer black clothing. Yes, these are equivalences. And I'm going to throw this in your face. Saying Black Lives Matter as a reaction to someone telling you at one time Black Lives don't matter, that's appropriate. Screaming at people who believe that saying Black Lives don't matter is wrong, yelling at people like that, means that you're waiting for me to make that sentence, that convoluted, hard to understand question and answer session. You're waiting for me to do that because other people won't be able to parse it. Basic English syntax. No. This is logic syntax. Saying a particular color cat is pretty, and someone saying all cats are pretty because they're a crazy cat lady or a crazy cat guy like me, is not, me saying that is not insensitive or patently ridiculous. Because skin color and fur color are irrelevant, you putz. Next. Are you able to understand the irony? Yes, I am. Do you understand that Alanis Morissette's Isn't It Ironic song isn't ironic? Do I understand the irony of responding to a perception of people going along with political correctness with reactionary hypersensitivity, exacerbated commentary is wrong? No. One of them isn't hyperbolic. Unless you're saying that you being politically correct, us saying that you're going hyperbolic and screaming at the top of your lungs with a literal bullhorn, shouting down people who are trying to have a debate, which means you have to tolerate opposing views and let them finish a sentence. Us responding to that by saying, screw you, we're going to be hyperbolic in response, reactionarily. No, I don't think that's irony. I think that's literally the equivalent behavior you're doing. No, I'm not doing these in the order the video had. Now I'm going to get to a reasonable person. This is a statement from someone in a video who it's totally out of place with the entire video. I'm deeply concerned with male addiction rates, suicide rates, male abuse rates, being abused. Because I have worked with these issues in the real world. That would be the reason you're saying something sane, by the way. But anyway, would you be willing to put your differences aside for the greater good of addressing these issues? Yes, I do. But we don't have a men's shelter here because that's considered problematic and triggering. Especially as these kinds of solutions needed are not gendered. If so, we could get something done if we work together. I agree with you. And then you label me anti-feminist because I simply want equality between men and women when it comes to this shit. The person who posted that part of the video, this is only the transcript version, I'm not going to watch the rest of it, I already saw that part, is a reasonable person stuck in an unreasonable conundrum. This person who is deeply concerned with this problem, and I acknowledge that it has nothing to do with, it doesn't have anything to do with gender, is this close to joining my side saying, it's not gender. A murderer in your town isn't gendered or race problematic. It's a murderer. He's anti-society. Me saying that we all need to get together to fix this and not concentrate on the gender of the person killing anybody because it's not relevant. Statistically speaking, it isn't, nor is the race in some cases, although not always. Let's concentrate on getting rid of the problem. That's not racist or sexist. That's called solving the damn problem instead of getting on a bullhorn and yelling at someone saying you don't have the right to speak. Yes, that one I didn't have to dismantle anywhere. All I had to do was take out the word as anti-feminists. We should all put our differences aside to solve these problems. That's what we all say. You not wanting to acknowledge that you're not doing so doesn't make it better. I don't care if you're triggered. Learn. This has to do with everything in our society. There are laws in this town that after I got stabbed by my now ex-wife, or attacked in general, I would go to jail because we don't know what else to do. We got to throw the guy in the jail. Why? Because the law only says that the man goes to prison. Now the law doesn't say that, but they do it anyway. I could literally be dead or dying, and they would still decide that they have to charge me with something because, listen and believe, while the woman is holding the knife in her fucking hand screaming, I murdered him! Yeehaw! Feminism. She'd taken feminism classes for 2 years instead of the science classes. My geeky wife turned into an SJW and tried to murder me. You're not entitled to this opinion when you are showing and semaphoring that you're aware that you're wrong. Acknowledge it. And to the person saying, do you know how to parse basic English syntax? Yes, I've taught AI systems to do it. Some of you use it for all I know. I never got any code money for it. Yes, saying one color of clothing or one color of anything, because it's arbitrary and it's not relevant, that it matters, is fine. But me saying all of them matter isn't insensitive, biased, or ridiculous. It's the correct response. You're the one who wanted to come up with syntax argument. You failed. If SJWs are bad because they spend too much time whining, don't you think about instead of talking about real problems, then why aren't you talking about the real problems instead of complaining about us whining? Because we're complaining about you whining instead of contributing to the discussion, and all of these people you're talking about actually discuss the real subjects and comment on. Some commenters only comment on stuff that will get views, or honestly, they don't want to cover serious subjects, but they feel a need to because this infuriating habit of complaining about people wearing a turban when they're not part of a population supposed to, or having cornrows, or having dreadlocks when it doesn't match their race to your perceived requirements, that's not relevant. And you not acknowledging this person. Acknowledge that it's not relevant whether or not I have cornrows. Acknowledge that. It's not important. Do it. I do. That's what we're saying. You complaining about it isn't relevant. This isn't an equivalency. You're the ones doing it. We're complaining about you doing something. That's not the same as doing it. That's the... Why am I continuing? I'm going to read this straight just about. Why am I continuously asked to answer for the views of people I agree with? If I agree with those subjects' overall aims, but I don't agree with those particular individuals, does that mean I can ask you to answer for the actions of anyone who labels themselves similar to you, even if you don't agree with them much? Yes, I removed the word feminism. You asked and answered your own question. I don't have to continue. The lack of self-awareness here is deliberate. These are deliberately designed to get these kind of reactions. These are people pushing buttons. Yes, I'll take my award in the mail. Thank you very much. I'll put it next to the rest of my awards. What's third wave feminism? It's a bullshit excuse for feminism reaction or overreaction. People trying to push the pendulum back the other way. That's all it is. I've heard one side insist that they have no objection to something in general, but the specific new version of it that's been perverted, they have a problem with. So what is it really specifically? It doesn't really have a name, but we just call it lying about what feminism is and using it as an excuse to inflict your will on other people. And this has been asked and answered 100 times, and you're ignoring the answers. Just asking questions and ignoring the answers again. What do I have a problem with? I have a problem with people instituting unfair laws based on gender or race and not letting me call them racist or sexist when they are. You don't like that? What this is it's payback. It's reparations. Affirmative action was an example of something that kind of needed to be done and may still need to be, but I don't know. That's not my decision. I can't cover that. I don't have all the data. But you do understand that it was basically a reactionary thing, right? Yeah. So do you want to take away the right to vote for men because that'll pay back for all the years women didn't have the right to vote? Really? I'm waiting. Give me an answer. In videos and comment sections, people sometimes take up the most extreme or weakest position they can find on the opposing side. Or they just straight up misrepresent it as what it is. Instead, why not take up the strongest or most robust argument you can find and really challenge yourself? No, it's not challenging myself. I'm challenging none of the strong issues in actual feminism because they're correct. They're just about equality. That's the strongest arguments. Why would I object to those? Oh, you want me to take on the position of being the devil's advocate? No. I'm only complaining about people complaining somehow that Halloween is problematic and that's the equivalent to rape. That's a stupid position. That's actually a video that was posted today. You're wrong. We only go after not the weakest or easily shot down ideas, not just because we're cowards or something, but because they're easily shot down and they're the weakest arguments, and they should stop happening. Stop posting weak arguments. We won't go after them. If you post a video, I think men and women should be treated completely equally under the law, I would say I agree with you, and that would be the end of the damn discussion. That's not what you're proposing if you're an SJW. Stop proposing inequality and calling it equality. Okay? Are you aware that the ridiculous buzzwords you helped popularize, like triggered, and everything's rapey, have lost all meaning they once had? Yeah, because you guys use actual words that had a meaning, and the supposed Anti SJWs used SJW, which was a title SJWs gave themselves, in case you were curious, or cuck, which is actually just an insult, and regressive, which is a descriptive term of you demanding to repeal the equality laws so you can make it unequal. You claim to be the proponents of rational, logical, evidence-based argumentation. I'll leave that as is. When I look at your online activity or your Twitter feed, that is not often what I see. How do you reconcile this claim of evidence-based and rational, logical argument against stuff like, oh, we were just messing with you, or oh, I was just S-posting? If you're looking at my postings I used to have on Facebook where I make fun of myself, that has nothing to do with any of the logical conclusions. This is not just a straw man. This is digging through people's Twitters and Facebook pages, trying to find something to insult them over. And then when we do it back to you, complain. And you say you were shit posting. Rather than telling people you disagree with them, wouldn't it be more productive for you to actually have a conversation about the issues that you feel matter? Or is it just easier to invoke an expression of go kill yourself? I don't say go kill yourself. I tell you your opinion isn't mattering because it's an opinion. I'm interested in facts. You don't post facts, I tell you not to. As for the drink bleach thing, that's a person self-deprecatingly saying he should drink bleach. How do you define right-wing? I don't. It's lost all meaning because both sides now use it superfluous, sort of like left-wing. It's stupid. Some of you have an aversion to being labeled right or left wing, yet they regularly defend the right or left wing and bash the opposite side. Therefore, why is it a bad thing to be labeled that way? Because it's extremely generalized. It's used as a bucket answer and a bucket request and a bucket insult. So go bucket it. Next. And if it's because it's used as a pejorative, can you not see why labeling someone of the opposite pejorative is also pejorative? All right. I'm an extremist liberal. I'm taking the right-wing stance in some cases because the extremist left-wing are extremists. And I take the right-wing, not extreme right-wing, opinion that you need to knock it down a notch. And again, me calling someone an SJW is based on the fact that that was a self-described identification. You called yourselves social justice warriors for about 6 months. We're not going to let you get over it. We're not going to drop it because you're the one who picked it up as a freaking shield. I'm a justice warrior. No, you're not. You're an injustice freaking advocate. We have the right to point that out and rub your nose in it because you gave yourself a laudable title. Are you not able to understand the irony of posting these videos to try to push everybody into a corner and beat them up like a living straw man and not understand why we say that you're doing something that is a tactic, it didn't work, and I'm allowed to dismantle this because you brought up the idea of English syntax and throw it back in your face effectively. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. Yes, this went over time. I'm sorry.